Hello, collective. Hi, this is me again. I'm here. I want to talk to you guys just about the subject of love and evaluating our relationships and how we understand that and how we understand how God defines what true love is, real true love. Matter of fact, hold on just a second. It's a little bit too much sun in here. Yeah. Um, yeah. Sorry about that. A little bit too much sun. Um, yeah. Here we are. That's okay, I guess. Yeah. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about just the subject of what true love is and how we define it and how it's supposed to be defined by the divine, our Father. Um, so it's just basically just to talk about how do we define what love is, what true love is, you know, through evaluating our relationships, through God's definition of what love is. Today, I want to invite you to join me in a moment of reflection in regards to that, not evaluating somebody else's life, not judging someone else's relationship, but to honestly evaluate ourselves in regards to what we define true love to be. Now, when I'm talking about this today, I'm going to illustrate it through some very relatable examples so that it's easy to try to grasp what I'm getting at here. Okay? The question is simple. How closely do our relationships reflect what love is by God's definition? And when we talk about by God's definition, um, in the world where we live and love is, we can define it in different ways. It can be easy to mistake attachments as love, convenience and desire, and even obligation for what we think genuine love may be. You know, but God provides us with a clear description of what love truly is. When we look in the Bible, we know some of the Bible. You don't have to know all of it, but just certain things. I know that people have heard that, certain sayings about um, love is patient, love is kind, you know, love is it doesn't convict you, doesn't put you down. Um, when we define love, there's so many ways in which we can define it, but it's how we define it in our relationships and how we deal with our significant others, how we deal with our children and people that we deem to be dear to us. How really do we define uh, what love is? And I was just sitting here myself thinking about it because, you know, not all of us have been blessed with a true example of what true and real love is. That's a great thing if you have, but a lot of people don't get the benefit of have what true love is in their lives, and they leave here without it. That's how difficult and so how hard it is to find that true aspect of love here on this earth. If you find it, it's a rare, rare, rare find, and it's something to truly cherish. So when you get it, it's very important to know what you have, because once you lose it, then there's likely no chance of ever getting again. So, so I'm just going to just state here, just some stuff that I came up with, and just trying to define, what I think it is, and based on what the Father has stated in the Bible in Corinthians 13. And it says, love is patient. Okay, so say, for instance, if I remember when I was had an active household with many children in it, and it was very active, and most of the time I was the only parent there. So very often I was doing all that I had to do during the day when I wasn't working, and when I wasn't working for pay, let's just say that. I was always working as a parent. It's always work to do. If you're a good parent and you're somebody who's, very, very hands on with what you do with your children and how you take care of your household, how you take care of your aspects of living, then you're an active parent. And it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It is never, never, never easy. Ah, it's not an easy thing. So when I was raising my children actively, um, I raised my children to always know how to speak, always know how to talk, always feel like they had the right to speak to me. Even if, as a parent, there's things that they can say to you and you're still the parent, you still have your rules and regulations, but they have a right to voice their opinion. So that's the kind of parent I was, or the kind of parent that I am. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, not by any means, but I'm saying overall, I always tried to be very, very available to my children when it was time for them wanting to discuss something. Say, for instance, when they came from school, they want to talk to me about their day, irrespective of what I was doing. I lent an ear for that. That was always a priority to me, even if I was cooking dinner, whatever it was. I took time to listen to them, to hear what it is that they wanted to voice about their day, how things went in school, what took place, was there, any altercations, uh, what did they learn today, all of those various things. So when one says one is patient, sometimes when you know that your day and your time is really full, and you may be very tired, once your kids come home and you've done all that you had to do, you're tired too. Sometimes people don't realize, how tired you may be, but it's just taking the time to let people know that Yeah, I may be tired, but I'm never too tired to listen to you. I'm never too tired to be patient to listen to what it is you have to say. So that is what is important to do when you're dealing with people that you truly love and really care about. It means that you take the time to be patient to listen to them. You take the time, irrespective of whatever it is they want to talk about, you lend the ear, and you lend an active ear where you can truly listen to what they say, what they're saying. So this is just one example of being patient. And even when your day may be very tired and full with a whole lot, you take the time to make sure that you give time to your children or people that you deem to be very, very important to you. And you let them know. I'm sorry, people. I'm just cleaning this up because this is very blurry. Okay, that's better. I'm sorry about this, but things happen. And however I'm doing this, things are imperfect, so I am not worrying about that. It's just the message to me. The message is what is important. So patience, having patience for your people, the people that you love. Even when it's times that you may be tired, lend the ear, because very often they can be telling you something very, very important, or telling you something in regards to a friend or somebody who's having something really dire and difficult that they're dealing with, but they feel comfortable enough to come to you and say, well, my mom may have some kind of insight on what to do, so I feel okay talking to my mom about this. And that's a great position to be put in, okay, because they trust you. And that's a part of love. And what real love is, a person should trust you implicitly, okay? That's another part of what love is. So love is patient, okay? That's an example of patience. Now, when it says love is kind, example, say for instance, if you are a couple, okay, and you and your husband are kind of like little bit opposite of each other. Your husband is the more flashy type, the one that likes to spin, likes to talk about what he has, and you're not that. You're the simpler one. You like the simple things. You're not crazy about the extravagant things and how much it costs. It's like if you just like it. That's what's important to you. It's if it's unique to you. But your husband is the type where it's important to him to boast about what he has and how much these things are, and wanting you to wear certain things that you really don't care for. And so there's an event that you're supposed to go to, and there's a lot of friends and people that you all know that's supposed to be there. And you go in your closet and you pick out something, and your husband is going and got a new suit, new this, new that, new cologne, and all of that. And y'all getting ready to go, and you come out in what you have chosen to wear to the best of your ability, and you're well put together, you're nice by your standards, and your husband is like, you know, nah, I don't like what that is that you have on, and it doesn't look good on you. You should take that off. You don't have nothing else to put on, and you're like, well, this is what I have. This is what I'm comfortable in. This is what I like. And he's like, well, if you're not going to change that, then I'm just going without you. and you are taken aback. You're hurt by the fact that he said that. But then you're like, well, that's the way you feel, then do it. Go on. Now, in that type of situation, that's not a very loving person. That's somebody who is not very kind, because the way he's made his significant other feel is he made her feel less than, simply because she chose to be herself. And this was probably something that he fell in love with in the beginning, but now he doesn't appreciate it. And so instead of arguing and making the situation worse, something that she didn't see as, that big, and this person, it seemed to be so much to him to go and boast and show himself to others, instead of taking his lovely wife with him that he should have valued more than what it is that he adorned himself in. She felt terrible, but she let it go. And she said, I'm just going to stay home, because it will make the situation worse if I try to push myself there and then the two of us are not around one another. Then it's going to cause more fervor as far as, more chatter as to what's going on with the two of you. So it's better for me not to go. So she took the high road. But that isn't something that one would see as a loving thing to do to someone that is of value to you, or someone that you truly love. True love is not something that is worth money. True love is not something that you can just grasp hold of in your hand. It is the intangible. It is the stuff of the heart. It is the stuff of the spirit. It is made of the most beautiful thing that you could not ever just hold in your hand. The most valuable things in this life are the things that you can't just grasp and hold on to in the physical. And unfortunately, very often in this world, those are the things that you're told just the opposite about. Told that the things that are not the things that you can grasp are not very valuable. It has to be what you can see tangibly. And that's totally opposite. Totally opposite. So that's another example. That's not an example of being kind to someone. So I just talk about these ways in which God has defined what love is, and he's talking about true love. He's not talking about the fleeting stuff. Not the stuff in which you meet some chick one night and then you're doing what you're doing, and then, you decide whether you're going to call her or not, or you call her a few times and you just like her a whole lot. We're not talking about that. That's not love. That's lust, maybe, if anything, or just a one night stand, you know, just a lustful one night stand. May not even been that great, but hey, you know, it's what you value. But what God is talking about is the kind of love that magic is made of. If you believe fairy tales can come true if you're lucky. If you're lucky, they can. But many of us come here and leave here without that beautiful fairy tale ever being answered. Or we spend our lives with people who we think we may have love for, but it's maybe obligation, could be a number of things, but it's not really love. Okay. Now let's look at love that is true. Okay, let's say, for instance, you have, okay, let's say you're a young person. You have a very, very, very close friend. You've known this friend since you were young. You all grew up together. And we're talking about love that's true, that does not envy. Okay? One that does not envy. True love does not envy. Okay? So you have this friend that you grew up with, and y'all thought y'all was thick as thieves, close as sisters. And when I say love doesn't envy, it means there's no evil eye. There's none of that, throwing rocks at somebody and hiding your hands business. None of that. Well, you know what? We're friends, and this is my bestie. But then when she's not around, I'm talking behind her back to mutual friends. Or when she's not around, maybe I know that she favors this boy that we both know, and I know that she favors him a lot. Or he may even be a boyfriend, that close. And yet, when she's not around, I'm making moves on this guy. For someone that you love and someone that you see as a bestie or someone like a sister, like blood, even though you may not be that, but you've grown up together, and the other one thinks of you like that, but you envy her because she may be the one that's very bright. She may be the one that she exudes happiness. She's the one that's always helping other friends out with everything. She's the light of the party. Anything she puts on, she looks great in. But she's got the kind of heart that she would help a friend out. If a friend was like, you know what, I really need some help with what it is that I'd like to wear. Could you help me with that? You're like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. I'm not, you know, not jealous of that at all. But you, who's supposed to be her bestie, her dearest friend, who she deems that you love her, you go behind her back and you do these things. That's not love. That's envy. And that's the kind that is dangerous, because as long as it festers, it could get more insidious. If it gets insidious enough where you want to encroach on somebody's relationship with somebody that they may deem as off limits, and you're encroaching across that line, then that's not a friend. That's not somebody who loves you. That's not someone who respects you. That is someone who envies you. That is someone who has illicit intentions against you. Evil, evil eye. That's the kind of stuff that's made of. Now, In those kind of situations, you really have to be careful, because then it can get to a point where this person so much jealous of you that they want to be you. I mean, it gets to the point where everything you're wearing, they want to wear. Anytime you're going somewhere, they want to know where you're going. They want to tag along. Um, and like I said, every single thing you wear, it's like, I got to have that too. This person seeks to be your doppelganger. This person is seeking more than just a friendship. This person is, trying to be you. They're trying to walk in your skin, basically. And that's where that can be extremely dangerous. So, this is where envy can get very, very dangerous. So that's extremely opposite of love. It is extremely dark. I would advise anybody who recognizes this kind of behavior in anyone that you know or you associate with, establish a hard way in which to cut yourself away from that person. Set up a strong relationship with the divine, in which you pray, in which you learn how to cleanse yourself, learn how to protect yourself from individuals like that. And when you see dangerous things like that, you have to cut that person out of your life, and you have to completely cut them out of your life. Don't let them have your emails, don't let them have anything. When I say completely, I mean all the way. No contact, no emails, no sending me mail, no hanging outside my house, none of that. Because that's a real obsession when it gets to that point. You have to see how insidious it gets, you know? So that's not flattery. That's obsession, and that's a degree of jealousy and envy that is not good. Now, when we're talking about being boastful, there could be, like I said, you can have people who just like to talk about everything they have. You know, they walk around and they like to spend everything is on their back, every bit of money that they have. And it's important to them to show everything to everybody. And these people deem to see others as, these are my friends, but to the people that you deem to be your friend, you're an annoyance. And you're that lost that you don't see that. You're boasting, they're sick of. You're going around them trying to be something that they all clearly see that you're not, because you're wearing every bit of value on your back, but you don't have any value within yourself. And they see it, but you don't, because you always got to be the one talking about what I have. Oh, I can buy this, I can buy this, and I can buy that. But you can't get anybody to really want to spend like a day around you, a whole full day. You will never get that because people tend to see you as such an annoyance and such a big mouth that they just can't do it. But to you, these people are your friends. They love you. But you're delusional because that's what you deem that you are, how you are to them. You think they love me. But if you really look at the situation, you are an annoyance to them. Those people that boast about everything they have are the ones who have the least value within themselves. They have the least value within themselves, believe me. And it doesn't take long to evaluate and see that. So, if you're around somebody or you're with somebody that's like that, I mean, see it for what it is. It's nothing, it's nothing really tangible in a relationship with a person like that. There's never going to be any love. They love themselves. They love what they can wear. They love what people can see them in. But you, no. And if you don't look a certain way that they think, and they could, I'm telling you, it could be the worst kind of person is the one that will look at somebody else and say, that person is not of my standard. And you are looking like something that the dog wouldn't even drag in. And you're looking at somebody else and saying that person is not worthy of who I would put on my own. Okay, so that's love that does not boast. And even in that, we also say love is not proud. In this example, this is a very proud person. In this example that I just gave you, God says love is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. Like I said, if you're somebody who is like, oh, well, she don't look good enough for me to be on my own. And yet this is the woman that you've spent maybe 2, 3 years with, and she's not good enough to be on your arm. So you're outside seeing somebody else aside from her. And that's the one that you'd rather take places, the one you'd rather put on your arm because she's very easy. Maybe you think she's prettier or whatever. There's always going to be something lacking in that person. But if the outside looks okay because you are that kind of surface person, that means a lot to you, that's no way love. There's no love about that. The surface is what's important to you, so the surface is all there is. And so the surface will all you will ever have. It's no value in the surface. It's just good for other people to see. I need to have other people say, oh, she's with that guy or he's with her and he must be something. But if they really knew you, took the time to even know you, they'd find out there's nothing deep about you. Surface is what it is, and even barely that. Now, love is also not self-seeking. Someone like this is like, hey, they're in love with themselves. So How much more self-seeking can you be? Someone who is like, hey, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that, and you don't measure up because you don't look the way I think you should look. And like I said, very often those types can be the ones that they may either look kind of nice on the outside, but they're the funkiest, most dirtiest, worst, toxic person in the inside that you could ever want to be around. Or it's the other side, it's the other opposite. On the outside, like I said, they look as bad, so bad that the dog wouldn't want to drag them, and they'd make the dog run the opposite way. But they think they this and they that because they wear certain things, and it attracts people who are also surface people. And the surface person boosts their ego so much. They think they're this and they're that, and I'm this and I'm that. And oh boy, yes, I'm that. And I got all of these friends. And wait until you lose all of that and see how many friends you have. So, love is not self seeking. If you have anybody that you know that's anywhere like these that I've described, evaluate things and take the trash out, dump it, and really, really evaluate and look at yourself and say, why? Why would I want to spend my time around this when I could have real love? Real love requires you to look within and for you to know who you are and for you to have self esteem. It requires for you to love you first. You have to love you first. You have to know what the standards are before you can bring somebody else into your life. What are your standards for you? Because you want a reflection of that person and what your standard is for you. It's like they say, you are what you want. You are who you've been waiting for. And what does that mean? That means exactly that. I have to value who I am. I have to know who I am. And I have to have time and care and love myself enough to do that, to evaluate what my standards are. What do I want in a love relationship? What do I want in somebody who I may want to spend my whole life with? If this is a real love, if this is true love, and I want to really spend my whole life with this person, I have to know who I am. I have to know what love looks like, what love feels like for me. And if it's only me that I have to shower all of that on, then do that. Do that first. I say it's absolutely necessary to do that first before you venture out someplace else and look somewhere else. And what you're looking at is fractured pieces. Then, if you're fractured here, then what you will get is fractured. You will get a fractured reflection, and that will be what you will be with. So understand that. If you want true love, you got to know the love within yourself. You have to love you. You have to know what it is to love you. And you have to be okay with taking the time. If it takes some time to do that, hey, listen, don't feel bad about the time it takes. Because rushing into something, hey, rushing into it and then not being happy because you rushed. Oh, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing. That is the worst thing. I think many of us have had regrets in doing that and not being fully healed in who you are and knowing who you are within deeply and taking the time to learn that before you step into what you think is a relationship or a loving relationship. Understand these things are so rare. Not saying it will never happen, but you have to be solid within what your ideas and ideals are as far as loving yourself and knowing how to do things for yourself, extolling everything on yourself first before you bring anybody else into a relationship with you. So, this is my way of sitting and speaking to you guys about what it is that God's ideal of love and true love, what really is, and what's running around in this earth is very rare that you see this. People don't, a lot of people don't even like each other in their relationships. They done had children and they continue to leave one relationship, jump into another one, have children, and they doing it, and it's a cycle. And they're not seeing that they're running through the same cycle. Different woman, different man, same example, same thing. Broken heart every time because you're not taking time to look within and say, what is going on with me? Why don't I love myself enough to take time evaluate, to evaluate who I am and what I'm interested in and how to love me? Why am I not taking time to do that? That's what we have to take time to do. We don't do that, then hey, it's all lost. And you're having these beautiful children and broken relationships, and you're going with this guy and that guy, and it's daddy. How many different daddies do you got? But they're not healed themselves. They don't know how to love you because you don't know how to love you. So don't keep doing it. Take the time, evaluate you, look at you, see what you need, see how you have to love you. Sometimes it may just be taking time off for you. And stop jumping into relationships after relationship after relationship, or you feel like you have to be married because you love, but you haven't really had love. You've been married to somebody, you got in a contract, then you're out of it because it wasn't really love. You thought it was. A lot of people that are really in love, those are the rare relationships you see that's like 50, 30 years together. And the only way it ends is somebody dies. Those are the relationships that are the love relationships genuinely. Generally. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are, because some are just for convenience and money or whatever. But when you sit down and you talk to people who have been in relationships for that long length of time, and they're still together, and they're still holding hands, and they're still uh, making somebody's coffee, still giving running somebody's bath for them, doing these things. Those are the true love relationships that are very rare, very, very rare here. And that's what God is talking about. God wants all of us to have that kind of relationship. But you take what you want. It's not always what God wants for you. But then you keep going in cycles because you don't see that when it ends, he means for you to take a break and look at yourself and find out within you what it is that's of value, so that you can bring in that other person that is more like you in love. Because you now know what love is, because you're able to give it to yourself without another person around you. When you break up in those many, many relationships, God keeps telling you you're going to keep going through that cycle until you learn that you deserve better. And you're not going to get better if you don't look at you. And you don't value you. God sees the beauty in you. God brought you here with the beauty and the love. And he tries to show it to you every day. You go through these examples, you think that he doesn't see them. That's why they have to break up at sometimes. He tells you, he shows you that it needs to break up. But then you break up and then you jump into another one. And you're going to keep going through these examples until you really take the time and do as he wants you to. And that is take a break. Take some time for you. You got babies, take times for your babies, but make sure that you have somebody. If you got a mother or somebody, take time for yourself. Tell your mom, I need to take a break. I need to take a weekend to myself. Just be somewhere, go somewhere. Do everything for you. If you want to lay around, relax, you want to write, you want to do anything, look in you and start writing and start pulling out what you feel. Why is it that I keep attracting these kind of people? Because generally, sometimes you attract what it is that you put out. If you attract somebody who is not sure of themselves, then you're going to attract people that are also not sure of themselves. That's it. You will magnetize what it is is broken in you until you fix it. Then you will see, you will start magnetizing all sorts of different people. Not saying that they all are perfect, but you have to assess who it is that you allow around you in your energy. A lot of people are just tricksters. So they know what it is that you want, and they want to come around you and pretend. But you have to be smart, and you have to take your time, and you have to assess things. And you have to know that you are valuable. Your energy and who you are and what God made you, you are the top of the top. So nobody can tell you anything different. Nobody can tell you anything different. And that is not arrogance. That is just facts. God did not bring us here to be broken. He did not bring us here to be less than who he deemed us to be. You're not broken in how you came out. You're not broken in how your face is. You're not broken in how your body came out of here. You're not broken in any of that. It's your perspective of who you are that makes you feel like you got to change what God gave you because everybody else is doing it. Everybody else sees themselves as broken soul. You want to be a carbon copy of those other people. So you see yourself as broken as well. But God gave you what He gave you. He gave you what He gave you. And that is beautiful in itself. That is perfectly made until you see it different. And it's the way you see it that reflects to everybody else. So, in closing, whew, I like to ask you all to really sit down and assess how it is that you see yourselves in the relationships that you currently have and those that you are around and those that you see as valuable in your life, and do your very best to be kind to everyone, be kind to yourself. Understand that God loves you if no one ever tells you that. God loves you. God loves us all. It's what we do that makes it difficult. But even in that, He gives you mercy. And He gives you much mercy until He deems it's enough. So no one can ever say they've never gotten a chance with God and that God has just did them wrong. If you say that, you're a lie. Because you get mercy, much, much mercy. You get warnings and you get everything before things really get terrible. And at that time, that's done. That's time is over. Time is done. And it really takes Him a whole lot to get there. God is very kind. His character is very, very kind, very loving. And He will always love you if anybody else tells you something different. He will always love you, always know. He loves every one of us. Even those who do the darkest things, He does all He can to save. Like I said, until you continue to not listen, then at some point, He's done. And then at that time, you're done. So anyway, I bid you all a wonderful, wonderful day. I love you all. I thank you for your time and your consideration in being able to being able to speak to you in this day and this evening, and just talk to you about how much God loves you and what true love is. And that it really does require us taking time and just knowing what love is and giving ourselves that brevity to care for ourselves, love on ourselves before anyone else, because you really can't love anybody until you love you. So I guess that's it. Um, oh my God, did this even take place? Is this even finish? Save. I hope that automatically. I hope that it took. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like I don't know if they're saved. I really don't even know if they're saved. Oh my God. I'm so upset. I'm gonna hit cancel. Live. Okay, can I? Okay, okay.